Oh, it's Monday, and today we're talking about Amazon women on the moon. Happy Monday, friends. That's right. The weekend is out the door and the week has began, and we have such a treat to talk about today. Now, I'm an old man. I know I don't look it. Listen, friends, I remember the 80s, and the 80s were special in so many ways. There were great action movies, there were all sorts of great cinema, but then there were also TVs with only a couple of channels on them, commercials galore. It was just a strange time. But most people don't remember that comedy back then, certain comedies were quite graphic in how they portrayed ladies. Oh goodness, friends, I love comedy. I love a lot of comedy, and I remember watching things at night, late night on TV, and the weirdest commercials would come on, infomercials, etc., etc. And that's definitely part of the history of what was great about the 80s. And today we're talking about what's considered a cult classic, Amazon Women on the Moon. Now, I had never, ever seen this movie, but it was done by people that had done other things that I liked before. But I gotta tell you, we gotta talk about it. Let's look at it. 1987. Hard R, my friends. Very hard. 1 hour and 25 minutes. Amazon Women on the Moon. Directed by Joe Dante, Carl Gottlieb, Peter Horton. There's a whole list because there's segments in this movie, and all the different segments are directed by different directors. So that list is not even complete. Written by Michael Berry, Jim Mulholland, and a bunch of other people. Starring Rosanna Arquette, Michelle Pfeiffer, Arsenio Hall. I'm going to scroll down because look, there's so many people in here. Let's look at the directors. Robert K. Weiss, John Landis. John Landis was the name I was looking for. All these directors directed these. Michael Berry, Jim Mulholland wrote most of it, but from what I understand, a lot of these segments were ad-libbed, so no telling what was left, like what was left of the actual written script. So a spoof of low-budget 1950s science fiction movies. No, it's of a movie. We'll get to that. Interspersed with various comedy sketches and fake commercials. Blah, blah. That's not even correct. Let's go. So here is what this is. There is a 1950s style movie, Amazon Women on the Moon, and you're trying to watch it on TV. Meanwhile, Channel 8, which keeps trying to show it to you, keeps having problems with the film. It keeps breaking, or this keeps happening, or they lose signal, etc. And it's interspersed with commercials and skits, right? Like things that you might see on TV, on a comedy show, or commercials, etc. Think Saturday Night Live, right? Sections, there's segments of things. And some of it is wildly hilarious. And other bits of it is so inappropriate. And even though the gag might be funny, it's just like the very first like questionable segment is an interview with a Playboy bunny type girl for the magazine. And for like the entire 4-minute segment, she is completely naked and you see everything. Front and back, all of it. As she's being interviewed, and she, it's like she's talking over this about, the gag is funny. And just a quick note from our friends over at Blackout Coffee Company, make sure you head over and give them a try. Links in the description. there's context, but it's obscenely, like, it goes on for an extremely long time, and it's becomes not only awkward, but just like, all right, can we move on? There is a huge amount of nudity in this. Even one such little segment they do, it didn't make it in the final cut of the movie, but they liked it so much they put it mid-credits at the end. And it's got Carrie Fisher in it from Star Wars. But it also, in the background, has chesticles. Several. I mean, I'm not trying to belittle it. Of its time, it's fantastic. It's hilarious. It's not all hilarious. Some of it's stupid. Some of it I could care less. And I don't necessarily have a problem with nudity in context. The movie, when it's written and they film it, and sometimes there's context for nudity. So depending on how you feel about that, you may or may not want to watch this. Be forewarned. It's been a long time since I've seen a mainstream movie that had this much nudity in it. I don't necessarily watch that stuff, right? Not that, like, I watch action movies, I watch dramas, but generally speaking, you may see chesticles once in a while or a bare butt. But this is straight up full nudity. And it was awkward, even if it made sense in context. So if that's an issue, you don't want to watch this movie. And most people would find this movie completely annoying because there's no, like, A to B story. There's A to B, B to C, C to D. Like, it's basically an hour and a half long Saturday Night Live where you have segments. And the funny bit about the 50s movie, the 1950s movie, Amazon Women on the Moon, is that every time it gets back to the movie, it's gone further in the, you don't know what happened to get there. So you're watching and the story is not fluid, right? Like maybe 15 minutes has passed in the movie and you have no idea what happened during those 15 minutes. And that's the funny bit throughout, is you get to watch the whole movie, but only in like a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, and you're missing a huge amount of the movie. And that's funny. It is funny. John Landis is a brilliant writer and director, but in this context, in our society now, this would be considered extremely off-putting, several parts of it. So just be forewarned, it's quite graphic. I'm sure there are places you can watch this on ad-supported streaming. I don't know if it'll be censored or not, but it's not that great of a movie. I gotta be honest, like, some of it was funny. Some of it I thought was hilarious. There were some bits that I really liked, but for the most part, it was just not that great. That's it. And it has nothing to do with the nudity. The nudity was annoying in certain parts only because it went for so long. Because in context, it made sense. That was the gag, which I'm not going to go into that right now. But for the most part, I get it. This is a cult classic. People love this movie. Kino Lorber released this Blu-ray, and I watched the special features. I didn't listen to the commentary because I didn't want to watch the movie again. Didn't care that much. I get it. I love some comedy. I even love this kind of comedy. But this was not as good as others that I've seen. So there you have it. If language and nudity bothers you, this is definitely not the movie for you. This is more than just chesticles. This is everything. All right. I got to go. Got stuff to do. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you're having a great week. We'll be back on Hump Day to talk about unmasking the idol. For Michael, the microphone, Bob, squeaky chair in the back, and this big fat nerd, we'll see you on Wednesday.